Hi everybody, my name is Gabi. I'm a double major in American Culture Studies and Global Cultural Studies, and I'm minoring in Spanish. And I'm just here to tell you a bit about my project. So, my project is titled Art from the Confines of Camp, Churiobata, Japanese Incarceration in the Memory of Resistance. So basically this project had originated from the question, what happens when a border crosses you? And I was really interested in the ways that borders manifested themselves within the interior of the United States. But quickly I realized that the scope of that project would be really large and I needed to narrow it down a bit. So my project particularly is about first-generation Japanese American artist Juria Obata and his artwork from the Japanese incarceration. And because of my family's connection to the Japanese incarceration, I pivoted my focus away from borders more broadly and focused solely on Obata and his artwork. So my questions then became centered around Obata's depiction of physical space during the Japanese incarceration and his illustration of the Japanese American body from specifically within Tanforan Assembly Center and Topaz Relocation Center. So those are two incarceration camps that existed during the Japanese incarceration of World War II. So specifically, I asked, how did Obata nuance the government's visual representation of the incarceration and incorporate a resistance narrative to the World War II incarceration of Japanese Americans? And how did Obata support resistance to the incarceration through the depiction of displacement, the construction of physical space at Tanforan Assembly Center and Topaz Relocation Center, and his illustration overall of the Japanese American body? So my key findings, I think, were centered around the fact that while a lot of art historians frequently claim that Japanese American artwork from this period was strictly documentary, and this was because Japanese Americans weren't allowed to have cameras or any type of technological devices in the internment camps, so they naturally turned to artwork in order to record their surroundings. And a lot of art historians claim that this is true, that it was strictly documentary, and while yes, Japanese Americans were recording their experiences, I claim that Obata's artwork also showed a subtle resistance to the incarceration. It wasn't just documenting his surroundings. He was really interested in claiming that this was in fact wrong, and this was something that I learned actually through my oral history interview with his granddaughter Kiku Obata. She told me that he was always against the incarceration and he never supported it. So in my first chapter, I claim that Japanese American artists, including Obata, deserve a space within the canon of artwork that revolves around the incarceration. So specifically, Obata's artwork should be placed in conversation with government photographers like Dorothea Lange and Ansel Adams. In my second chapter, I talk specifically about 4 of Obata's sumie paintings, and sumie is just a type of Japanese ink painting, so it's painting that's made with black ink. And so the 4 paintings I talk about are Talking Through the Wire Fence, The Welcoming Band, Soldier Playing Hide and Seek with Innocent Little Boy, and Hatsuki Wakasa Shot by MP. And I claim that his illustrations of the barbed wire fences of the internment camps and the hostile environment of the incarceration, as well as his depiction of the murder of James Hatsuki Wakasa, a first-generation Japanese American man, resist the incarceration by humanizing Japanese Americans and their experiences of incarceration. Finally, in my last chapter, I really put this history in conversation with what's going on in the present, and claim that Japanese American resistance to the incarceration is constantly ongoing. Specifically, I look at Japanese American monuments dedicated to the incarceration and claim that Obata's artwork kind of functions as a type of monument to memorialize the past. And yeah, ultimately, I think Obata's images from the period of incarceration are a type of visual memory, and I think this memory is really present in the present day. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.